The silly moments, the proud moments, even the hard moments. They're why Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield is committed to making healthcare better, more affordable, with more choices for care, and peace of mind through it all. Because Blue is here for you.
Welcome to the Made in Iowa podcast presented by Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield. I'm your host, Lisa Fox, in the Iowa Everywhere studio. Today we go deep on safety. I've got Ellen Hines, Director of Workplace Experience, and Justin Woods, Chief Manufacturing Officer from ALMACO. I hope you enjoy the conversation as much as I did. I am super excited to have in the studio, once again, ALMACO. We've got two executives in their safety area. We've got Justin Woods, who's Chief Manufacturing Officer. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
And Ellen Hines, who is Director of Workplace Experience.
Hi, thank you for having us.
I love the fact that ALMACO has created a position called Workplace Experience Officer.
That's a great title.
That is so cool. How long have you had that position? And what is encompassed within your role?
It's really the other duties as assigned, probably, of the business. I have been in human resources for my career, and I started to take on additional departments. I've been supporting IT. I've been supporting marketing. I've been supporting safety. And then also I'm helping out with accounting as well. In the interim while we get someone else hired. So it is a lot of different tasks.
You are a pinch hitter.
Yeah. Well, I love
Utility player.
Yeah,
Sure.
that is so cool.
That's a kind way to say it. I really just like to get into lots of different things. And that's a joy that I have in working at ALMACO. So it's been about a year since I've had the title, but I've really been into a lot of things for a long
Clearly.
time.
And as we were getting to know each other before we turned the mics on, I found out you guys both started about the same time.
We did, yeah.
Justin, what is your role? Chief Manufacturing Officer could mean a lot of things. So what
Yeah.
exactly do you do every day?
Yeah, so I oversee the production aspects of the business. That includes our service side of the business. So with the base manufacturing, everything that we do in that space, our service center and everything they do in that space, and our LATAM operations, because we have a business entity in Brazil.
Yep.
So, yeah.
How many people report to you? Too many.
Too many. Yeah. It's a lot.
A lot.
Probably 100
maybe.
plus. Yeah.
When I decided that I was doing a segment on safety, I immediately reached out to Lisa and said, I want to get ALMACO in because I toured your facility, it turns out about 3 years ago, and was struck by how much safety was just a part of every facet of your processes. That culture is not developed by accident.
Yeah.
Talk about your journey to safety. I heard that several years ago you were having some little incidents, nothing catastrophic, but you all of a sudden one day said, we got to fix this.
Right.
Talk
And
about that journey.
This was a while ago. So actually this was maybe right before Justin and I started. That we recognized that as a business, it would be a very good, not only a business move, but a move to support our employees if we focused on safety. And the idea was that safety is everyone's accountability. So I don't think there's ever been a safety employee, one employee in charge of safety. It's really been a team of all of the leaders, but then also the employees of creating a place that we can function safely, but then we also are very accountable. So that was, maybe 20, 15 years ago. Since then, we've been doing really well. We've had a really great record of safety, and employees recognize very quickly as they get onboarded that this is real. We don't just say it, we mean it and we expect it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's something that I share with people that tour or onboarding employees. I say, I've worked in a lot of different companies, and there's a lot of places that say safety is important. here we actually mean it, and try to set that bar early for people so they understand that we're not just talking about it. It's not posters on the wall. We do have posters on the wall and we do some of those things, but it's because it's a part of our culture and we want to make it memorable for them. We want to make it top of mind because, that's a big component of safety is awareness.
Right. Yeah. Let's get into the practical application of these programs. You've got several safety initiatives within the operation. You are part of the SHARP program for OSHA.
Correct.
Many manufacturers shudder at the thought of OSHA entering their doors because it is punitive. They don't know about the consultative side of OSHA and the resources available once you open, and there's a big line, big
Correct.
wide line between the consultation and the punitive side of OSHA.
Correct.
Yep.
Talk about your experience with the SHARP program.
Sure. Well, that I think we've also been doing for about 15 years, maybe a little bit more than that. And it's really lovely to have OSHA come in. They don't pull punches. We have interesting conversations about OSHA, things that are important to them. And it's different depending on who's coming in. Sometimes it's hygiene. I don't know.
Let's talk about what's included within hygiene.
Well, they're talking about health. So should we allow people to have beverages in their work areas? How far away should the food be?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's also hearing and air.
Right.
Yeah, air
Those
quality
kind of things.
monitoring, a lot of sampling and just kind of understanding what hazards may exist. It's there's a lot of focus on that with hazards that you don't see, versus equipment safety
Correct.
or ergonomics. Those are things that you see.
Right.
When you're talking about hygiene, a lot of it's extra stuff. It's air quality, it's noise, it's health impact, stuff like that.
Yep. So they come every year, or not every year. They come every 3 years, and then we interact throughout those 3 years. I give them reports. They give me guidance. I can ask them about different things and what they suggest.
Wow.
So it's very supportive, and I think it's a really great program that probably people could take more advantage of.
I completely agree.
Yeah, it's a really collaborative experience, which is really nice because we can identify something and have a conversation about it. And because it's not enforcement, when enforcement comes in, it's you are doing this, there is no discussion.
Right.
And when you're talking with consultation, there's a lot more discussion about interpretation of the rules and what really applies or what's appropriate in that situation. And so we can discuss what the right solution for the problem is versus enforcement's going to come in and say that needs a guardrail. There's no
Ifs, ands, or buts about it.
There's no way around it. You're going to do exactly what we asked you to do. So
that's awesome. All right, let's talk about your Safe Start methodology and how it helps you in busy times. I worked in restaurants when I was growing up, and things got lax when we weren't busy. You're not as sharp and you're not as concentrating on things. But then when you get busy, you miss stuff. So you need to be smart about both times of that cycle.
Sure.
How does Safe Start methodology, what is it and how does it help you do that?
Sure. If it's okay, I think it'd probably be a good time for us to talk about the work that we do.
That would be great.
Because I think that would lend itself to why that particular methodology is important for us. And
Love
really
it.
behavioral safety is a big deal everywhere.
Right.
But so ALMACO creates, we started with making custom ag equipment for the seed research industry. You could probably give this speech better than me, manufacturing operations
You're doing
person.
good. You're doing good.
So we're making combines, we're making planters and threshers and other ag equipment for seed research specifically. So you might see our machines in the fields, but you're going to be seeing them in research plots,
Right.
not a commercial farmer.
Yep.
Right? So each one of those machines has been customized and designed for that client. So we don't have a production line where one person does a thing repeatedly or one person uses a machine to do the work. It's a group build of a group of individuals that is probably smaller than you think, putting together all these components to make a combine, or a welder that gets a part cart and pieces them together from instructions. So there isn't repetitive work often. What that means for us is employees have to make decisions all the time about the work that they're doing, because we're building sometimes prototypes, many times prototypes.
And it's never been done before.
Yeah.
Right. So we can't instruct them on a specific movement or a specific procedure when sometimes it's brand new.
Wow.
That is an important part of behavioral safety, and that they have the accountability to say, am I going to plan this correctly? The first thing we tell them is, before you do the work, you think about the safety part of it. Are you lifting something, planning your route? If you are using a tool, is it the right tool? Are you sure? So that's the safe start.
Is it the right tool or the easiest tool,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
And it's making
absolutely.
that decision of, do I really want to walk over there to get the right tool, or to ask for help, or do I just want to get it done?
Wow.
So we're trying to train our employees, and I think everyone's really getting it, of first you're accountable to you, then you're accountable to the people around you, making sure that they are also making the right decisions and supporting them in what they do. So that's, to me, is the safe start way, is talking about where am I right now? Am I rushing? Am I tired? Am I complacent? That's a big part of it too.
Right.
Have I done this so many times I don't think it's a big deal? And then I have to recognize I am not safe enough. If I thought I was safe enough, then I could be in trouble. And this can be at home too, right? Like, you're at home and you're cooking and you're going really fast and you accidentally burn yourself. I did that the other day.
I have got cuts all over my hands because I'm constantly, and my husband from the other room will yell out, "Slow down, Lisa, slow down," because I'm always running 15, 20 minutes late for everything.
Yes. So the mentality is, I'm not safe enough. So I shouldn't be in the kitchen rushing around, not thinking about it, because there's heat and there's knives. I have to think, okay, I'm rushing. That means that I need to be calm, pay attention. What are the dangers in my area? So that's a way sometimes that I explain it to people too.
And it's something that we've integrated into our incident review process. So when something happens unexpectedly on the shop
matter what
floor,
it is,
whether it's a damaged piece of equipment or a safety incident, we ask very explicitly, what state of mind were you in when this happened? And where could you have identified that state so that you can change your behaviors and prevent the incident in the future?
Right.
One of the challenges, I think, for the employee is that whole mentality of see it, say it. You don't want to be tattling on one of your coworkers, and you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be Karen, How do you balance that internally and encourage open dialogue and almost debriefing daily on the safety culture that you've created?
Sure. I would say one of the things that really stands out in that space is making ourselves available for that. So if I, in hustling and trying to go solve a problem, walk out of my office and out on the shop floor, and I forgot to put my safety glasses on or gloves or steel toes, I don't make it very far before somebody will wave me down and go, "Hey, safety glasses on."
Nice.
And in those situations, it's all of us as leaders. The very first thing that you do is you go and fix the problem, then you follow up with them and you say thank you.
Wow.
And that's a big first step, right?
That is
really
huge.
modeling that.
Gratitude.
Yeah, showing the gratitude.
For caring enough about me to say something.
And that's exactly how you handle that.
It's
That's
framing
good.
it. It's not tattling. It's, I care about you enough to help you do your job safely.
Yep.
Wow.
And it just creates a space where that accountability isn't seen as policing or tattling. It's more about compassion, right?
Yep.
It's I work beside Ellen every single day. I would really hate for her to be out on the floor without her steel toe boots and have an incident. So when I notice, I say something, and that's every employee at ALMACO. And it's something that likely a lot of new employees get to experience, because we do see new employees make that mistake.
Right.
We had somebody new in the shipping department recently, and they have an office that's a closed door area, and safety glasses aren't required in that space. And I literally watched this happen. He just walked out. It's a normal thing. Walked out. He wears regular glasses, so the safety glasses are covers over the top. Just didn't notice. No big deal. Walked out of the office, and within 30 seconds, somebody was like, "Hey, buddy,
Awesome.
pull those down." Right.
There have to be, over the 18 years that you've both been there, employees that have come in who are a threat to that culture and just can't quite get there. How quickly do you take action when you know it's not a fit?
You have to move, and Ellen, you might have some comments that you want to throw in there too, but you have to move pretty quick.
Yep.
You can't allow that to continue or fester. So typically, as soon as we recognize that somebody is really challenging the culture that we've created, you move to communicate with them very early on, like, "Hey, I know you've been other places, and I know you've experienced where everybody says safety is important, but here we're going to really follow through on this, and we really want you to engage in this space." And to your point, ultimately, there are some people that just don't want to buy into that culture. And at the end, it's usually a very clean conversation because they recognize it too.
Right.
An employee doesn't understand that you don't stand on the top rung of a ladder or whatever those things are. You see it the first time, you correct, you follow up, you really try to drive home the message. And then ultimately, if they just don't want to slow down and take the time to do it right, they know they don't fit either. And, and it's usually pretty easy to say, "Hey, this isn't going to work."
Are there ways to recognize that culture alignment before you hire them?
Oh, absolutely.
What are some things you look for in a potential employee, either positively or negatively, that says, yes, they're a fit, or no, they're not?
Well, and to me, a lot of people's safety mindset has to also do with their work mindset of being
They're very aligned, aren't
positive, of being ready and willing to come to work, raising their hand, saying, "Here I am, I'm ready to go," instead of saying, "Not me, I don't want to do that. Why do we have to do these things?" So the people that are recruiting at ALMACO, the first conversation, they're hearing things like, if people complain about their jobs, about safety policies, sometimes people, and it's amazing what people will just share without asking about fights they've had with their manager or times that they did something unsafe and, "Oh my gosh, can you believe they got rid of me?" So, I mean, those are easy, easy red flags, easy red flags. But we do listen for language like teamwork, like accountability, listening. You typically get that in conversation, regardless of what you're talking about. And we ask a lot of "what would you do if," or "what did you do when" questions to get someone's honest take.
Love it. Let's talk about the pause program that you're rolling out. Explain what that is and what created the impetus for it.
Right. And I'm going to sound kind of silly because I'm going to not remember what all the letters stand for, but
plan your work,
plan,
assess the job, use your PPE, and speak up.
Yep. And then you evaluate and execute and evaluate. So the reason behind it, and the reason I'm not memorized this yet, is this is a new thing that I've started to just push a little. I do a pretty intentional communication method with employees because it has to be sticky information.
Yep.
It has to be repetitive. It has to be interesting. It has to be useful. So this is something that I haven't even shown the whole workforce yet, but they have heard it probably 10 times already. And the thought behind it is, before you do any work, part of the job is you pause and you think about what you're going to be doing. I think I said earlier. So whatever it is that you're doing, just be aware of the responsibilities in front of you, the hazards in front of you, what's coming up, so you are prepared for what could happen. So many times employees say things like, I didn't know that would happen if I did it that way, or we were just trying to get the job done. It's all very legitimate reasons for people wanting to do a good job, but missing a very important step, which is thinking, stopping to think. So planning, assessing, using the right PPE, all of those things are just kind of parts of being thoughtful.
I love it.
About what you're doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I want to get into advanced manufacturing and automation and lifting mechanisms. How much has that changed in the last 18 years, your work in the manufacturing operation?
Sure. Early on, a lot of what we were doing was, I would categorize as kind of a brute force method. It was a lot of using forklifts to lift things and not a lot of emphasis on material handling just in the grand scheme. The volume was low. The work was very manual. And the way our shop was designed, it didn't always require that level of thought or preparation. My role early on at ALMACO was the continuous improvement engineer, and my background is in manufacturing engineering. So as our business evolved and we added things like a laser cutter or a precision press brake or other pieces of equipment, every time we made one of those changes to the layout or our function as a business, we chose those times to find areas of improvement, to improve material handling. So like a big change, when we bought the first laser, we had a manual rack and an overhead lifting crane that would pick up every single sheet of steel and place it on the laser. When we bought our next laser, we went, hey, that's great. We're using a bridge crane, that's helpful, but we could do this better. And the laser that we looked at had a sheet loading tower in it.
Oh, wow.
Where it completely removed all of that manual material handling and automated those pieces. As we've gotten into additional work in contract manufacturing, we've seen an opportunity for more material movement. We've added additional cranes, lift tables, and different things. So over the years, every time we do something new or different or change, we use those opportunities to move forward in that space.
Right. And the contract manufacturing is new for us. So we're partnering with different companies, not building ALMACO ag equipment, but building something for them too.
Right.
And it was eye-opening for all of us to realize the difference between what we knew and what we had done before versus these new products that are coming in that we thought were so very similar.
Right.
So it changed the landscape of, gosh, we really need cranes everywhere and we need different tools everywhere. And that was part of really a safety concern for us, is that we saw as we started contract manufacturing that there were some things unexpected that happened that we had to adjust for. So we really ramped up on lifting devices and again, safe start and talking about be thoughtful about what you're doing. It's new. So you really have to get into that and figure it out.
So the ag economy has taken a lull in the last couple of years. I don't think it's any secret to anybody in the state of Iowa. And I talked a little bit about when I was a waitress, those lulls can create a sense of complacency. How do you keep that energy high around safety, that passion, even in those slower times?
It's a great question. Do we have slower times?
Ish.
It might happen sometimes.
Ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go we go fast.
You're going.
We go fast. What I would say is that, like I said this before, but make it really sticky. Make the information really sticky so that it becomes a habit and becomes part of their routine versus, should I be thinking about this or shouldn't I be thinking about it? You should be thinking about it all the time, no matter what's happening. So in the slow times, I think we can focus on 6S and sorting and standardizing.
It's 6 now?
There's safety.
We
Oh
use
my
6.
God.
There's safety in it.
I love that.
So our 5S program is a 6S program.
I didn't know that was a thing about us.
Sorry.
That was
continuous
you.
improvement. So yeah, when I got into the group, I was like, we need to roll out 5S as a system for our business. And if I'm rolling it out, I might as well just call it 6S. And so
it is fully integrated for you. That is such a great example.
It's just part of how we talk about it. We all call it 6S, and the 6S is safety. So in our 6S reviews, when they're filling out their sheet or doing any sort of, because we have check sheets that kind of drive daily, weekly, and monthly activities to keep those areas clean and organized. Included in those things are safety things. So if you look at a checklist for a welder fabricator's work area, one of the items on the checklist is, hey, look on the floor, look for slip and trip hazards,
right,
and make sure all your cords are wrapped up and put away. And yes, it's a component of organization, but so much of that organization drives better safety.
Right.
I'm going to divert just a second into the importance of communication, and not just in safety, but really in retaining and recruiting good employees.
Absolutely.
What are your communication rhythms with managers and their direct reports?
I'm thinking they see them all the time, every day. I see a lot of employees every day.
Right.
Being in the hallway there. I think it's important to have a very cohesive message that's intentional, but also common sense. We can talk about gross profits and we can talk about KPIs all the time. But when I feel like I'm talking to an employee, sometimes those don't make a lot of sense in their world. They're like, that's a you problem, not a me problem. Let's talk about a me problem. So I love to take things and talk about it with them. Like, this is your part of the role. This is why this is important to you. Bring it up to them so they understand the importance of what they do. Because everything is so important. Every person's job is crucial.
Well, and I'm thinking about that adage, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
That's true.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely true. And so really creating, again, that stickiness, that I do truly care about you attitude. How do you reinforce that? How many employees do you have today?
About 150 today in the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were asking about the cadence. We, at a department level, typically have a weekly meeting where we talk at the department level about any issues or concerns. We kind of just do a broad review of how are we functioning as a team? Are we aligned? And then what issues do we have right now? And in those meetings, we'll establish themes or things that need to be discussed. The employees are meeting with their leaders probably daily. There's usually like a beginning of the shift kind of just touch base. Every 2 days, so Tuesdays and Thursdays, they will meet as a group and do stretching. And in those meetings, there's space for additional comments. So we have a space for safety notes, quality notes, manager notes that need to be communicated to the employees. And that safety note is every single Tuesday and Thursday. So there is a touch point with them on, hey, here's a safety topic. It's usually aligned with our training.
Awesome.
And it's usually really funny.
It's usually very funny. Ellen writes a lot of them. They're fantastic.
I didn't know you were a comedian too.
Yes.
And it's evolved over the years. We've done a lot of different things. I really like where we're at right now because there's just a lot of cohesiveness in the communication and message. And then once every 2 weeks, we meet as an entire company where we do stretching together as a group. And we have a conversation about what's going on as a business. But again, safety is a component of that conversation. And it's because we have everybody together and we're paused as an organization, there's a really great opportunity to slow down and kind of spend a little more time on it, so that every 2 weeks, that Thursday is usually a longer conversation about, here's a topic we're talking about right now. Let's think about these things. Sometimes when Ellen's feeling cheeky, there's some crowd engagement that's very entertaining. But that cadence, it's 2 to 3 times a week,
right,
that we're having a consistent message that's being communicated. And then daily with those production startups, when we get together as a group, it's an easy conversation to be like, hey, we talked about this in our department. Just want to make sure everybody's being extra aware of this particular thing. Context. Yep.
Let's talk workforce. You've got 150 employees now. Do you have any open positions?
We do.
Yes, we do. We're looking right now for service technicians. So it's a fun job, but it's taxing because they travel quite a bit.
Okay.
So they're traveling not only around the world, or not only around the United States, but around the world, different countries on their own. So they're road warriors. But gosh, they get to see so many fun things and get to eat lots of cool food.
and you're dealing with, as Ellen talked about, highly customized equipment. And so there's a component of it that, yes, this is a combine and there's a basic build to a combine and a basic function to a combine. But these pieces of equipment can be variable. And so you're really somebody who's excited to go see the country or see the world and tackle a unique problem.
Problem solvers.
Yeah. It's a really fun and challenging.
And I would assume they'd have to be self-motivated.
Yep.
And drivers.
But if you don't want to sit on a manufacturing line and just use the rivet gun until your head explodes, like this is variety.
It's
the apex.
And I would assume
work.
that role would have been perfect for farm kids.
Absolutely.
And now that we have fewer and fewer farm kids because of the corporate farming that's going on, it's probably harder and harder to find those folks.
Yeah, the ag tech program has been a nice opportunity for us to find people that have that kind of love of tackling unique problems, and they like being out in the field. That's fun for them. So we've had the opportunity to find some really unique people, and it's been awesome.
Awesome.
We also have product assembly technicians open positions.
So it's similar in that people get to work with their hands, a lot of variety, but it is inside.
Okay.
And you don't have to travel.
Nice.
Yeah. Right.
And probably the thing I love about what you guys do, and you mentioned this, you're not in a line, right?
No.
It's not an assembly line.
Yeah.
Every product you create is unique. Mm-hmm. And so the opportunity for variety is huge.
You don't have that monotony.
No.
And it's interesting at ALMACO because of the way our equipment was developed and designed, you're also not going to have piles of documentation. When you're building unique pieces of equipment, there's just not the depth. You're not going to create detailed work instructions for every single step of the assembly. And so there's a certain degree of, yes, you're coming in as an assembler, but what we will give you the parts. You can see a model. There's some general understanding and instructions, but there's a little bit of, even if you built the same combine back to back to back, the order of operations is going to be a little bit different. And so it really is, you get to do assembly, but you get some variety in your work, which is rewarding.
That's awesome. You guys are coming up on a big birthday, 150 years. That is huge. As the workplace experience director, do you have any big plans to celebrate? What are you thinking?
I might be the workplace experience person, but I am like the worst at fun.
What?
I need to be. Yeah.
We're probably going to have a party.
We're probably
going to have a party.
We'll be fine. Yep. We'll be fine. I think we are a culture of achievers, and I would think almost everyone at ALMACO is so focused on just what's the next thing, that I can lose track of these different types of milestones. How important is it, though, to celebrate that fact? The longevity of ALMACO. We're the second oldest business, or the oldest business.
We are the oldest.
Why am I
business
making
in
these
Story
things
County.
up? We're the oldest business in Story County. So,
yeah, you got to celebrate.
Yeah.
Safely.
A cake.
Ooh, everybody loves cake,
right?
Yeah. Last year we did a grill out that seemed to be wildly
was
popular.
fun.
So we'll probably get the barbecue going, make some burgers, have a beverage and just enjoy each other's company.
I love it. Yeah. As you look at the next 150 years and the legacy that ALMACO has built here in the state of Iowa and internationally, what excites you most about the next 150?
Oh, that's such a great question.
With the changes that we've made recently in the addition of contract manufacturing, and we've added some new product offerings that are outside of the world of ag, I'm excited to see as we continue to diversify the momentum that we are going to gain from that stability. You know, we talked about the ag economy. There's always ups and downs in that space, and I think with some diversity, it creates the ability to just grow and grow and grow and grow. And I think you can tell from these conversations, really love who we are, our culture. So that opportunity to grow for me is an opportunity to expand our influence and to bring other people into who we are and how we do it and share that with other people. So that's what I'm excited about.
And you guys are a business of relationships, long term, and I've heard it from your ownership. You're not in it for the short term.
No.
You don't even want to consider partnering with a company that needs a quick fix.
Correct.
Like, these are relationships that you plan to have for decades, if not centuries.
Yep.
Right.
So.
And when I think about ag in the future, there's going to be so much change, and there's going to be different types of seed research with AI and with different sensors, phenotyping.
Yep.
But in the end, I love thinking about how we can support creation of food and creation of fuel and supporting humanity in that way. It's only going to be more challenging, I'm thinking, in the the world to have those things work. So I'm excited to continue to be a part of that, but then expand into other areas where we can also give to the world in those types of
there's
problem-solving ways.
a responsibility that I think your ownership has taken on to sustain the company during these downturns in the ag economy. And what a gift that the entire company and every employee has to look at other industries and fill those gaps as they happen. So
we have
that's
so many
exciting.
smart people to work on these things.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that's kind of unique about our manufacturing operations is because we're not designed like a high volume manufacturing company. When we work with companies that need to take a concept to fruition, we're able to move very quickly because we don't have, a hard manufacturing line that's designed into the facility. You've seen our space. It's flexible.
Yep.
And so if we need to tweak or shift or make adjustments to be able to bring something on and make space for it and move it through our shop quickly, we can take somebody's really great idea and put it out in the field or out on the road or whatever that product is, but we can get there really quick. And it's fun to get to jump in with somebody who's, really excited to get something to market and to partner with them and do it.
Right.
Awesome. Well, I thank you too for coming in and spending time. I guarantee the listeners have learned something about safety today. I've learned a lot, and I thought I already knew a lot about it. So I appreciate it and appreciate all you do for the economy.
Well, thank you so much for having us. It's been so fun.
Good. Thank you for tuning in to Made in Iowa. Subscribe, like, and share wherever you listen. Catch episodes weekly from the Iowa Everywhere studio on the BPC streaming network.